say, shares them old and new. News from abroad is her.
Hi, Raymond P. Zawadny the third.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Nice.
Elvira!
Wow, that's amazing.
It's really scary, isn't it?
No, that's
Mayor,
good.
Did you go as a stockbroker that got mugged?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm Superman.
Okay.
That's funny. Elvira.
Colin just looks like the only guy in Texas afraid of COVID.
Well, welcome. Welcome. I'm Tammy Pescatelli. This is News from Abroad, Halloween edition. Please welcome my co-host, Superman.
Hi.
And our additional co-host, the Cowboy, who's never seen a cow.
Howdy, how are you?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's right. That comes with an accent. You didn't know that.
Oh.
A lot of people
wow.
don't know.
That's. I mean, wow. Colin, it even looks like your beard is fuller, I have to say.
Yeah, I took one of my girlfriend's eyebrow pencils and filled it in. So one for her ladies' nights. You know, she wears it at her ladies' nights.
Lord, I hope that's not true.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh. Well, we're going to do a special Halloween edition that's costumes. I never get to dress up. Are you guys going to any parties or anything like that? I mean, nobody really is, right?
I wish I was, but no parties.
I never even went to any parties when there wasn't COVID, so it's interesting to me to see, people like, oh, there's not a Halloween party. Yeah, because I'm an adult. I haven't been to a Halloween party for a long time.
Last year we just went to a bar together, and I didn't have a Halloween costume, so Colin's girlfriend just drew a nose and whiskers on me, and I was a little cat.
That's hysterical. I have a T-shirt that I made years ago that said, "This is my costume."
Honestly, at least you tried. I mean, some people, I remember as a kid would come to my neighborhood, other kids, they would be 18 and they would get out in sweatpants and Jordans, and they'd be like, yeah, we're basketball players, give us all your candy. And then they would just take our candy.
This is how it works. News from Abroad is a column that I write each week in the Weekly World News, which is the world's only reliable news source. And then we talk about it. We talk about not only the article, but we talk about things that are what we call shallow dives right afterwards. So this week, the article is called Man in Real Life is Rip Van Winkle. Which one of you is going to play my guy in this for me?
I think you're up, Colin.
All right, I'll do it.
Yeah, you seem ready to do voices today.
Yeah, I am. And he's from Alabama.
Oh, that's right. I can't remember. I wrote it. I don't even remember. All right, here we go. Man is Real Life Rip Van Winkle. The Child's Tale of Rip Van Winkle tells of a man who settled down for a nap and woke up years later to find the world had moved on around him. One U.S. man and one trip to the Department of Motor Vehicles caused him to become the modern-day version of the story. It doesn't matter what city in America that you live in. If you have a United States government-issued driver's license, you are familiar with the extremely long wait times at the Department of Motor Vehicles. It may have even felt like months, but for one man in Alabama, his visit to the DMV actually was. Phil Romano's driver's license expired whilst the world was on lockdown. Since all government offices were closed, there was nothing the Midwest electrician and avid gambler. Boy, I'm an idiot. I wrote Midwest electrician in Alabama, but it is the middle of the country. There was nothing that the Midwest electrician and avid gambler could do. He had to wait till they reopened.
I won $100 on a scratch off. When I pulled out my license to claim the money, the cashier at the gas station told me that it was expired, and she couldn't cash the ticket. I tried to go the next day to renew it, but all the offices were closed.
When the DMV finally opened, the capacity laws only allowed it to serve half the number of people that it used to on a normal day, causing the already treacherously slow process to almost cease.
Slow is a word used for fast workers at the DMV. I've seen comatose people move quicker.
Prepping for the arduous wait time, Phil took a number and hunkered down.
And that's the last thing I remember. Taking the number, trying to find a seat that was socially distanced or whatever. I thought I'd catch a few Z's.
That was May 15th of this year. When Phil woke up, still seated in the chair at the DMV, it was September 14th.
I don't know what happened. I dreamt I got my license and left. I dreamt I was going to work every day, that my wife still hated me, and that my car was running fine. Normal, everyday life. Then I wake up and realize not only have I been asleep for 4 months, but I'm still at the DMV.
Doctors at the Cleveland Clinic Sleep Department, who have not examined Mr. Romano, have concluded that this may be one of the worst cases of narcolepsy that they have ever seen and want to study the electrician. The man's wife was questioned as to why she didn't report her husband missing, and she said,
He said to me once, said, honey, if I win the Powerball, pack your bags. I said, where will we go? And he said, I'm going to Tahiti, and you're going to live with your mother. So naturally, I thought his numbers came in.
Workers at the Department of Motor Vehicles, when asked how a man could sleep in their lobby for 4 months and they didn't see him, responded with this email. We have a system here at the DMV. In order to be processed, you must take a number. We call each number 2 times before we move on. Over the 17 weeks, we called Mr. Romano's number 170 times, to which none of those he responded to. It's not our fault that he lost his place in line. When Phil woke up, he left the DMV, which was closed at the time, and he immediately pulled over and was cited for an expired license. The end.
Now, that voice that came out of me, that was just a last minute thing.
Whoa. Oh, you didn't practice that?
I didn't. A little high pitched, but I think we got there.
I like it. I liked it a lot.
Colin, were you adding an H in every word that you said?
I don't know. I do declare I don't know.
He had a little bit of a whistle, too. I think I heard the
Yeah. Phil had a bit of a whistle.
I think he had a whistle.
That's what I thought. What did you do? Hi, what?
Oh, Lord. So, DMV, any horror stories?
I mean, just going in general. I still haven't gotten a New York driver's license because I'm afraid to go to the DMV in this city.
Right.
I'd rather just drive with, something that makes no sense and isn't legal than try to go to a DMV in New York.
If people are mean at like a DMV in Pittsburgh, they're going to be so mean here.
I know, right? Listen, I went in LA and I had a friend of mine that was moving with, she had moved too. And she had 2 different color eyes. Like she had one blue and one brown eye. I forgot what it's called, it's not hypochondria. I don't know what it was. I forgot what it's called. And the lady behind the DMV counter goes, take out your contact. And she was like, no, these are my eyes. She goes, well, you put down your blue and you got one blue and one brown. Take out your other contact. She's like, no, I didn't know what to do. I can't write blue/brown. So, and the woman there, she's like, I was born this way. And the woman at the DMV did not believe those were her real eyes. She was like, nobody's born with 2 different color eyes. And they had to go get a supervisor in order to do it.
Yeah, the people at the DMV aren't usually masters in biology anyway. So it's... they're like, hey, I have this issue. And they're like, I've got a lot of issues too. And one of them is you're taking up my time. So
what's the longest you've ever slept? There's a Kentucky boy. He slept for 11 days. He fell asleep and he slept for 11 days. Now, thank God his mother kept taking him to the doctor, and they kept trying to wake him up, and he would like wake up and fall asleep, and they put him in the hospital and did tests on him. Then after 11 days, he just woke up and he was fine and he never had that issue again. But in third world countries, if you do that, they will bury you alive.
Oh my God.
I mean, I've went down for a couple like 45-minute naps and woke up with like my sister's throwing dirt on me. So like he's done. He's done. Put a pillow over his head. He's done.
He was 7 years old. He fell asleep for 11 days. That's
Most I've ever done is one day, probably. Just a full sick sleep or a hungover sleep, just one straight day.
Like literally went to bed at 7 o'clock. Say 7, and woke up the next day at like 7.
Yeah, just so waking up so disoriented, and you feel like scum.
That's why I don't like naps, because like every time I wake up out of a nap, I feel like I've just traveled through in a DeLorean. Like I'm sweaty and I'm like looking at my phone. I'm like, what day is it? And it's only like 2 hours have been passed. That's it.
You don't like naps. You had to share a room with your grandfather when you were a
kid. Right, he didn't. That's why I was so sleepy. Because I was up every 20 minutes with him.
I was doing, the shallow dive that I do, and there are so many people that have had narcolepsy over the years. Narcolepsy is a disease that causes you to fall asleep. Like literally, we could be having a conversation in extreme cases, and you could fall asleep right away. But there are different things, and now they treat it with medicine. But in third world countries and in years before, people would fall asleep or perhaps have this narcolepsy, and they think they were dead, and they'd bury them.
Literally the worst way to die. Yeah, I fell asleep at dinner, and then they buried me, and I'm now in heaven. I'm here.
Just in case you're ever buried alive, there are tips. Are you familiar with those?
No, I kind of wasn't planning on being prepared for this.
You never know.
Hey, no one is, right? No one is ever planning on being buried alive.
Tammy Pescatelli is.
Well, listen, now I know I can't unsee this. So if you find yourself in this situation, the key thing to do, number one, obviously, don't panic, stay calm, shallow breaths. Then take your shirt off, because then you can kind of breathe through the shirt and it'll calm you down. It's like, I guess, like blowing in a paper bag. Use that shirt, but try to punch through the top, or use your feet to kick through. But try not to do it towards your head. They're saying if you're going to punch like on your chest, like chest level. Say you get through your coffin. When the dirt comes in, push it towards your feet so you can literally stand up on it.
Well, this is never going to work for me because I'm too insecure to take off my shirt right now. The winter, I got a little extra COVID weight,
Listen,
so.
I wrote one joke during COVID, and it actually, the one time I got on stage, it worked. I said, I've gained so much weight that when I want to slip into something more comfortable, I mean like the dark. So we're dressed up for Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween started, do you know that Halloween kind of started through the church in this little thing that I found out? Like it started, the Roman Catholic Church adapted this Gaelic Irish festival, this All Souls kind of festival, and then put the night before All Saints Day. And you would wear a costume so the dead would go somewhere else and didn't come for you. Is that not the creepiest thing? I was just trying to save your lives, guys. That's why I asked you to dress up with us.
Yeah. Ruins the fun of Halloween a little bit.
Yeah. I'm dressing up like Inspector Gadget when I'm 10, and it's to keep the dead souls away from me.
Yeah.
Really changes the vibe.
All those sexy nurses at the parties are just trying to get rid of the dead souls.
The dead soul inside of them, really. Everybody has Halloween horror stories. One of my first bits was talking about how my parents just never bought us costumes, and my brothers would have to go in their underoos, and I was a raisin, and those are all real true stories. But one story that I can never tell on stage because it's just too much to get to is when I was in second grade, I was jumping in this big pile of leaves. And literally, I got poison ivy everywhere. In my face, in my eyes were swollen shut, in my mouth. My face was red and swollen and scaly. And it was Halloween, okay, the next day. So I got to stay home from school, but my mother let me go out trick-or-treating that night like that, as me.
Oh man,
Makeup.
that is a shot to the confidence right there. That is
not even like, Ma, you couldn't even put a bandana on my head or something. Just, you're so ugly. No one will believe it's you. Go as yourself.
Like, what did you get the guys from The Walking Dead to come over and do that? Like, no, I just played outside.
In her defense, it would have been a little weird if she put you in like a Cinderella dress and you had a big swollen up face.
True. It's a crazy thing. I don't know.
Ray, you had a real bad run in, Ray, with poison ivy a couple summers ago.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that. It got somewhere I don't care to talk about.
Wait a second. I think I met you, Ray. The first time I met you, you had like poison ivy on your leg, right? Wasn't that plumbers convention that we did?
I don't think so. No.
For about 3 weeks, Ray was walking around like, well, I know something about it because I get off of horses, but he was walking around like he was getting off a horse, and he's walking around like gingerly. And that's because we, being comedians and needing extra money, decided to do some very cheap yard work for a friend of ours. And Ray found out he was very allergic to poison ivy.
I already knew that. What I found out is the guy we were working for was a damn liar about the poison ivy that was in those weeds.
But how did it get there, Ray? I mean,
when I pee, I'm guessing, or
Well, we wore gym shorts to the job, and we were really like up to our waist.
Who are you working for, George Michael?
Oh, I mean, yeah, right. Yeah, we were cleaning his pool, but it was strange. He was like, "Take your shirts off. I'll give you an extra 20." But no, we were just doing like yard work, so we both wore gym shorts, and we were like up to our like hips in like weeds and stuff. And Ray was like, "There's no poison ivy in here, right?" And the guy's like, "Nope, definitely not." And then I think we made $80, and Ray spent $120 at a Med Express.
Oh,
yeah, it was everything was swollen and stuck together. It was not good.
And it's there's nothing worse than having itchy, swollen genitals, and it's not even from sex.
I know. Right.
As much as you tried to tell everybody too.
Yeah, it was, hey, I got itchy, swollen genitals, and it's not the cool kind.
Well, thank you guys. That's it. That's us this week. News from abroad. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Howdy, partner. So this week in Frighteningly Funny, you know what we do. We talk to comics about their travels and maybe some of the paranormal, supernatural things that they've seen. I have an amazing comic. She's a producer. She's a mother. She's a writer. She is just going like gangbusters and hysterical. Please welcome my friend, Carol Montgomery.
Hello.
What about you? So tell me something. You said a couple things have happened to you.
Well, two things. So my husband's brother passed away when my son was 2. Okay, so 2 years old. So about 6 months after he died, the three of us were sitting around, and I said to my son, I said, "So does your uncle ever come visit you?" So he goes, yeah, he came and visited me in my dreams yesterday. Now, I should preface this before I say anything. My husband doesn't believe in any of this crap. Do you know what I mean? Like, here, all right. So I said, really? I said, so he went to visit. I said, so what were you doing? He goes, we were drawing. And I said, that's great. I said, what were you drawing? And he said, motorcycles. And my husband turned white as a sheet because that's all his brother ever did. Was like if we sitting around, if me and him were talking, he'd be sketching motorcycles. There's no way a 2-year-old kid would know that.
No.
So it, like I could see my husband go, Did you like prompt him? But like, he's 2, so
Yeah.
he's not. Yeah. So that was the first one that made me go, okay.
Okay. Yeah,
There are
that's sweet, though. It's really sweet. It's really
Yeah, that it always struck me as like, is there something out there? Do you
Well,
know
I
what I
think when
mean?
you sleep, you're way more susceptible. It's that dreamlike
Right.
state that opens you up to another. I mean, my cat passed away, and it's not the same as your brother-in-law for sure. I'm not trying to quit. He had died on Monday. On Thursday, he was in my dream, and I said to my husband, "I'm going to get the ashes today." And he's like, "Well, how do you know?" And I'm like, "Because he was in my dream." And it was that weird thing, like when you wake up at 5:30 and my kid doesn't have to get up till 7. So I was asleep, awake-ish,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he was there, and it was, I get chills now. So tell
Yeah,
me,
I get. But and then the other one, okay. So the day that my mom passed away, so it's one of those bizarre stories. So my mother had, one of the things about when someone has cancer, they never tell you that you never like for breast cancer, you don't die from breast cancer, you die from it going somewhere else, and then like a vital organ, like the liver
sure,
or the.
sure, or
So
lack of potassium or something to
right,
that effect.
right.
Yeah,
So we were on the phone that Saturday, and my mother's last words to me, I said, "Mom, listen, she was my sister was like, she's getting very weak." I said, "Just hold on, I'm coming tomorrow," because I had to work. I was doing the
yeah,
Crazy Girls at the Riviera. And of course, God forbid I should just say to my boss, "I'm leaving now," because comedians don't do that.
right.
Comedians always go to work. I think one of the things that's been great about the pandemic, it's so stupid, is that the relief of not having to worry about losing your work if you get sick. Do you know what I mean? I know it's not a
I
weird
know
thing,
it's the truth.
but so anyway, so I call my mother up and she's on the phone. I said, "Mom, Deb said, my sister was saying, you're not." And this is her last word. She goes, don't get crazy, don't get crazy." And then I said, "Well, I love you," and I hung up the phone from her. And so that whole day was a very because I knew she was going to leave. I
Sure.
knew that she was going to go. So I call my sister about 6 o'clock. I had to be at the theater at like 7:30. My dad picks up the phone and I go, "Dad, how's Mom doing?" He drops the phone and I was like, ugh. So I said, so my sister picks up the phone. She goes, "The ambulance is here. We're trying, I said, "Okay, I have to get to work." Okay, so and I'm
Okay.
getting chills talking about this.
Yeah.
So I go to work. I was on stage performing and I felt her leave.
Oh,
Yeah, I felt her leave. I felt her. I was, there's that feeling, and I felt her go, and it was. So I get off stage, at we do our bows because of big Vegas bows, and we get off stage, and nobody was allowed backstage. My boss was a male chauvinist. He was like, "Nobody can go backstage." I literally walk off the stage, and my husband and my son walk in to get me, and I knew that she had died that night. But it was the most bizarre feeling. And talking about visiting, so we go to my sister's. We get on a plane. We go to my sister's. Everyone's there. The first night I'm there. Now when you lose especially a mother or a father. So all this is happening, and all these feelings are going on. And I go to sleep in my niece's room with my husband. Oh, thank you. And I wake up and I feel really warm, like really, really, really hot. And my sister had aluminum.
not hot flashes.
Not hot
No,
flashes.
by the way, people who are watching this, we know hot flashes, so don't say
Yeah.
that. Yes, we know we're old. Take it down. We know what hot flashes are.
So I wake up, I feel this flash, and then I hear she had blinds, aluminum blinds, and I hear like somebody going like this, like when you put your hand on a blind, it'll make that noise.
Sure.
And I burst into tears. My husband woke up, he calmed me down. So the next morning, I went and checked the window. It wasn't wind. There was no wind. There was no animal in the room to open it. So obviously my mother was saying that she was okay.
Yeah.
And the dog was barking also. That was the other thing. She had like a little yippy dog, and the dog would not shut up. And they say that dogs can see ghosts. So I said to my sister, I said the next day, I said, "Does the dog always bark like this every night?" She goes, "She's never barked before. She hadn't barked since." So those are my two little.
Yeah.
I know they're sad.
No, they're sweet, really, and it's a sweet thing if you take a look at it, because it's the connection of
Right.
love that really doesn't leave.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. It's a really I mean, we talk about Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and all those things here too, but when we talk about, and I was always really hesitant to talk about ghost stories because I believe in not opening the door to those things.
Right,
But
right,
this
right,
is different because this is love and these are connections. And
right.
this is someone or, the spirit trying to reach to the other spirit inside of you, your soul. These are souls that are connected and can
Right.
join, making sure that there's peace there.
It was the weirdest feeling in the world to feel her leave. While you're on stage, I'm doing my jokes. I'm doing jokes for the people who don't know me. I feel my mother just leave me. It was so bizarre.
Listen, my father on this, he's on this plane, but he's
Right.
seen my act and not talked to me for 3 days before too. So oh,
Say, shares them old and new. News from abroad is her